For lesson 13, which we're starting today, that is all about something called substitution. So it is another way to solve systems of linear equations rather than just by graphing. I still suggest that you use the graphing technology to check your answer, but there will be questions on your test that talk about the process of substitution. So that's why you have to know your stuff for all of the methods. So the learning targets, you can solve by substituting a variable or an expression, and then decide which way or what to substitute based on how the equations are written. I'm recording right now, I'll link it in here, and then once we finish the lesson tomorrow, I'll link the other parts in here as well. The puzzle piece will be 13. I have some kids that already got that done. Like they messaged me for another account. So I was like, wow, I'm lesson 13 already. You know, they are available if you ever do want to get ahead. And if you're like, well, we haven't learned the lesson yet, any title of the lesson you could put into YouTube and there's plenty of videos there. So if you're like one of those kids that gets everything done on one night and that's all you have available, maybe you have sports, other things going on, then you can always work ahead. It is possible. So they're not my third out, so we won't talk about that. But we're starting lesson 13 with the math talk. So you don't need the paper yet. I'll give you the paper tomorrow for the note sheet for 13. But math talks, what are the rules for math talks? Mental math. And then when you have an answer, do you just call it out? What do? You just put your thumb up, and then that way enough people have time to think about it before the ending is revealed, before it's spoiled. So in this one, we have graphed the two equations that are in a system. You're going to determine if each of these systems, which I'll show you one by one, could be represented by the graph. So here's the first system. X plus 2y equals 8 and x equals -5. Do you think that this picture of the graph could be represented by that system? So look at it, think about it. Put a thumb up when you have your answer. Could it be represented by those lines on a graph? All right, add a line, yes or no? And why do you think so? Give me something to go off of. What kind of told you that it was no? The top equation, the bottom equation, and why is that? Because it doesn't have another variable. So that isn't necessarily why, but am I allowed to have lines that don't have a y in them? Can I graph lines that don't have the letter y in them? Yeah, it'll just be a straight vertical line. So let's see what that would look like in those. So if I type in x equals -5 into my graphing calculator, look what pops up. It's a vertical line where the x is -5. So could that be represented by this vertical line that's on here? I mean, there's no labels on this graph except for the origin. Would this vertical line be to the right of the origin? Look back at our graphing calculator. Is it? No, it's to the left. So that would be the reason why that the first one can't be represented, because it would actually be a vertical line somewhere on this side. Make sense? So try to use the strategies that we're talking about when you see the next one. So could this one be represented by the graph? for those sums, you have the answer. We're gonna do a quick round, finish. All right, Grant, yes or no on the second one? And why no? Because it's negative. I mean, that it's partially right. So when it's y equals, what kind of line do you think that it makes? If the x equals alone with no y gives me a vertical line, then y equals probably gives me a, and where do you think it probably gives me it at? Below the origin, where y is -1, and -1 would be down here, right? So that's why it's not that one. Try this one, stop packing up, or I'll hold you after. Focus, and then I'll let you pack up. So could this one be represented by the graph? So looking for those sums, everyone should be looking at it, not talking. Emery, yes or no? So if you type both into dead both, even without rearranging it, you do get a vertical line that is to the right of the origin. And you do get the other line with the negative slope. All right, real quick, this last one, yes or no? You can call it out when you have the answer. This one you guys should know right away, yes or no?
No.
And why? Because on the first line, which is in slope intercept form, it has a negative y-intercept. Where would that be? Below the origin somewhere. And it has a positive slope, so it would go that way instead of downward. So that is why. All right, we'll take it up here tomorrow, after our maybe.